Hello everyone, hope you're okay and not too wet. Hasn't it been one of those days? Sorry that I didn't post anything yesterday. I was feeling dreadful and I'm a bit better today, but not quite on top of it all yet. And I've got a mouthful of ulcers and my chest is not that good. I've got hoarse voice. And I need to be back under my duvet. But actually, you know, that's it's like when you've got these things from so much treatment and everything else that's happened over the years, you just have to roll with the punches and take these bad days and get on with it, really, and hide under the duvet if you need to, and then just enjoy and make the most of the good days, which I certainly try to. Now, today's song, Wendy, who put a donation on my page, requested that I sing something for her. And so that made me think about St Saviour's Church, Middle Park, Elton, where I worked with Wendy. And it made me think about some of the things that we'd done over the years. And one of the amazing things that happened to me while I was a young curate there was that I met this fellow who's in the congregation called Tom. And Tom was in his 90s. He was an ex-sailor. He had joined up when he was only 16. And he lived on his own. His wife had died some years before, and that had been what had brought him into church, actually, because he was lonely. And what happened was, as I was a curate, I still had to do a few different things and be assessed for them. And one of the things that I did while I was there was to create a Songs of Praise service, like the Songs of Praise on the telly, but it was just for our congregation. And those that wanted to in the congregation got to choose a hymn and explain why they had chosen that hymn, and just then we could, you know, we decided, you know, did we have enough to make up a service? And actually we had more than enough, and it you know, people really got into the swing of it, and it was a great thing to do. And so I went round to people's houses to get their stories and make sure it was all right for public consumption. And then I went to see Tom and was chatting with Tom, and I said, you know, why have you chosen this particular hymn? Because it's actually a modern worship song. Because he'd chosen something called Such Love by, I think it was originally written by Graham Kendrick. And you'd have thought he'd have been more into The Lord Is My Shepherd or Abide With Me because of his age, you know, that he liked the traditional hymns. But Wendy was really good because she had all those traditional hymns, which she loved as well, but she also liked the modern music, and she would introduce the good stuff to the congregation, and between us we used to teach them the songs. And so when he chose Such Love, I was surprised, like I said. So I said to him, Tom, why have you chosen that one then? And he started to tell me a bit about his time in the Navy and being at war. And sadly for Tom, he was on a few ships that were actually destroyed and sank, and he was presumed missing in action. But fortunately, each time he managed to get rescued and eventually made his way home. And he said what happened on the last time he came home is that he was walking down the street and word of his arrival leaked down to his mum's, and his mum and his sisters came running down the road to him, so excited, and threw their arms around him, smothering him with kisses. And he just thought that he, you know, it was ordinary to him. But he said when they did that, in that moment, he knew he was loved. And it was like, wow, what a beautiful story. What an important milestone for him to realise that he was loved as well. And what I used to do with Tom is every Sunday morning, he'd be sitting in his chair after the service, and I'd go up to him and I'd put my arms around him from behind and give him a big hug and put a kiss on the top of his head. And he loved it. He used to say, oh, here she comes. And, you know, it really made his week. And we got on famously. And one of the things that happened after we talked about, you know, him feeling loved, he started to cry. And, you know, he was a bit shocked, and I was a bit wondering what was going on. And so, you know, I just held his hand and waited for the tears to stop. And then I said, Tom, why the tears? What you thinking about? What's upset you? And gradually it all came tumbling out of him, and he started to tell me about the fact that he was on the beaches during the D-Day landings, and he told me about the atrocities that he had seen, and that had affected him, I would say, for the rest of his adult life. And you could see that it's clear that he'd had post-traumatic stress disorder for all that time, really. And when he was married, when his wife was looking after him and stuff, if he was having one of those days, like I said, we can all have one of those days. And with him, he'd just have a day where he had to withdraw, and he'd go and sit in his greenhouse or in his conservatory, and his wife would just every now and again come put a cup of tea beside him, pat him on the hand and leave him be. And of course, they didn't talk about PTSD back then when he first came out, and no one recognised it, but I recognised it. And he said, why am I telling you all this? I've never told anyone in my whole life. I've never uttered a word about this. And I said, but maybe, Tom, it needed to come out. And I just felt incredibly honoured that he had done that. And I'm so fortunate that I'm blessed with the ability to collect tears. And I think it helped in a small way those last few years of his life. He was such a special fella. And Wendy also was able to be alongside him when I wasn't there. And Wendy also really loved that hymn and thought that love was the most important thing to share, and that's the essence of what Christianity is about. And when I was sent to her as baby curate, she said to me, you have the right to learn from me, but you don't have to be me. And so to honour both those special people, she's such a good friend. We were side by side for the best part of 13 years working together, and we're really good mates. And Wendy, thank you for all that you've taught me. And also, let's honour Tom by singing his favourite for one more time for Tom, eh? And I hope that anyone who's watching this from St Saviour's also wants to join in with it. So let's see if I can manage this without my singing voice today. Let's get the words up. And such love, pure as the whitest snow, such love weeps for the shame I know, such love paying the debt I owe. Oh Jesus, such love, such love, stilling my restlessness, such love, filling my emptiness, such love, showing me holiness. Oh Jesus, such love, such love springs from eternity, such love streaming through history. Such love, fountain of life to me. Oh, Jesus, such love. Tom, still love you. Continue to rest in peace, mate. And thanks, Wendy, for being you. Everyone else, be safe, keep well, and stay warm and dry, and God bless.